August the 4th, 2016. Guys, it's important information in this video, and I hope people pay attention, especially people in power that can step in and stop some of this. What you're looking at is Miami, Florida images there, and they're spraying chemicals to stop the spread of the Zika virus, and basically this is a larvicide to kill the mosquitoes when they're first born. Now, the videos I've done earlier in the year, we talked about the scientists from South America coming in and saying that the deformity in the children, they don't think has anything to do with the Zika fever. It's a mild sickness, guys, that's been around forever. But the deformity came in the group of women from that country that were exposed to the same spray, this larvicide, and that was causing the deformities. In other words, the same way it would stop the embryonic stage or the larva stage is by going in and killing and deforming that stage. Well, it doesn't quite kill, or as far as we know yet, we don't have all that information, is killing the children, but in that same beginning biological stage, it's deforming the children. That's what's going on, and that's the only thing that makes sense, because this came out of the ZIKA forest in Africa a long, long time ago. But now it's a major money maker by Big Pharma. And guys, it could come down to something even more sinister than that, because they've warned in the last few days that this is record warnings from the Center for Disease Control, things such as pregnant women to avoid travel to Miami. And if you haven't been paying attention to it, you should be. You're not going to get it from mainstream, I can tell you that. But they have went door to door in certain areas. They've taken urine samples, blood samples from individuals to determine if anyone in these certain area, I think it's about maybe 10 miles, 10 square miles or something there in Miami-Dade County, that as they took the urine and blood samples, I can just see this happening, can't you? People coming up, the mosquito control unit, and kind of like the FEMA people in a lot of ways, and wanting your urine and your blood samples. You could really go a lot of trails with that information. But again, they're spraying the larvicide. You see this image on the ground. Now today they're coming out and they're spraying it from airplanes. Guys, again, it's not the mosquito that's deforming the children, and that was the panic point in the Zika story. Again, it's been around for a long, long time. But when the children started getting deformed from the spray that they're doing in Miami now, in other cities, Alabama, all through the South, guys, that's when the babies started showing up deformed in South America. That's when it started. And instead of placing the blame on Big Pharma, where, to be honest with you, many people in power invest in Big Pharma or big ammunition, bombs, missiles, technology. And you can see the technology stocks rise, guys, when there's a saber rattling between the U.S. and Russia, or when you see the threat of Zika or Ebola. The stocks shift in those directions by the same people. Now, right now, two things are happening. Again, the most sinister one to me could go all the way to the Georgia Guidestones. If they know this is a killing, and they know that this is affecting the children in the embryonic stage, it's the same as it's a larvicide. You could call it an embryocide, but what they're spraying is deadly. And are we dealing with population control while we're sidetracked by, in the case of South America with the Olympics, in the case here of the presidential election that's so critical. Many players, and especially on the Democratic side, are getting very wealthy from spraying this poison. And it's, guys, this stuff is deadly. I'm going to read you the information on the chemical itself, but you need to contact the people in charge of your cities Now, this video is not going to be popular on mainstream. You may want to copy and paste it, share it anywhere you want to. But that is the only thing that I can think of besides the profit. And if profit, which we know it is more important than people to these this top 1%, then they're making billions and could do a very heavy population control step. Not only population control, but the people that are affected by this that survive, most don't have much of a chance at all of any life, and will be basically totally disabled, unable to fend for themselves. Maybe menial work jobs, maybe that's what they're trying to do. But this is very deadly, guys, and we need to talk about it. Let's look at the chemical they're spraying. Now, quickly, the headlines today: America on verge of Zika pandemic, aerial pesticides next. And they've started that spraying in the area. Guys, this is coming from Breitbart. I will link the articles. They get a lot of information in there because, unlike mainstream that would turn down this type of information in the stories, they're not afraid to publish it and get the information out. Can be critical at times. You should check that site daily. It will keep you very educated on many of the things that are happening. Just a small sample of this article. The Center for Disease Control is issuing their first warning for Americans to avoid travel to an American neighborhood. The U.S. is on the verge of a Zika pandemic that may soon require extreme measures, including aerial pesticide spraying. Guys, this is on neighborhoods. But this pandemic is a created pandemic. It's not a true pandemic. And again, the consequences are grave and the reasoning is dark. It says, for the first time in their 70-year history, the CDC warned Americans on August 1st not to travel to an American neighborhood for fear of catching an infectious disease. The CDC advised pregnant women and their partners not to travel to a Zika-infested community near Miami that has had 14 cases in a neighborhood with 200 homes and businesses. It's almost like this quadrant off zone there in Miami-Dade County is an experimental lab. I wouldn't want to be there. Let's look at the chemical. Again, today, they're saying that the Miami is fighting the Zika with aerial insecticide as homegrown cases total 15. And then quickly I'll point out the chemical they're using, but Miami-Dade County officials have announced they will use aerial insecticides in the affected neighborhoods of Miami to combat the Zika virus. Though such measures are typically only marginally effective in killing the Aedes aegypti, the mosquito responsible for carrying Zika, the number of mosquito-contracted local cases of infection has now risen to 15. Guys, that's door-to-door. Urine, blood samples. Think about this. If they were to go to all the neighborhoods in the entire Miami-Dade County, they would probably get very close to the same results because of the time of the year. So now they're going to continue to spray this over the entire nation? The reports are saying the spraying occurred yesterday, Wednesday, August 3rd, at dawn and covered a 10-mile radius around the northern Wynwood neighborhood of Miami, where most cases have been diagnosed. Again, that's the sample neighborhood. The chemical, NALED, N-A-L-E-D, remember that, typically deployed to combat mosquitoes and larvae. That's what I said, larvicide, remember, were used. A chemical expert says it's pretty safe stuff to the environment. What about the people? Officials choose to attempt this spraying campaign despite it not being as effective against Aedes aegypti as it is against other insect species. Again, why are they really spraying it? This particular mosquito prefers to spawn in covered shallow pools of water, difficult to reach by aerial spraying. These areas, if does reach, however, could experience a significant decline in the mosquito population. In South America, they did the same thing. They sprayed it on pools of water, rivers, lakes, that where people got their drinking water.